Welcome to the Halftime Show, your world of sports in half the time. I'm Colton Tobias. And we thank you for joining us for another semester after a 5-month hiatus. We are going to start by discussing how have each sports league handled with their returns, because of the coronavirus. So, Taylor, I want to start off with you. What are your thoughts?
So first of all, I would love to commend the NBA and the NHL for the efforts that they put toward making the bubble, making it a safe space for not just the players, but for the faculty, team, staff, making sure that everything was a safe environment. The NHL has reported zero positive coronavirus cases since going into the bubble. And it's really nice to see, especially with the players returning home, knowing that they had no risk of exposure being in that bubble, seeing the amazing reunions that they've had with their families upon elimination. Elimination obviously is not the way that they wanted the season to go, but to know that they get to return home to their families and just be safe with them, very, very heartwarming. Kudos again to the NBA and the NHL. Can't really say the same for the MLB. It's just not. they they just didn't do anything really that kept their players and their faculty safe. And you see that from all of the teams. I believe the Cardinals were one of the first, or no, it was the Marlins, excuse me, who had multiple players and staff members test positive. And now you see complete teams just being out of the season right now because of all of the positive cases that have come out of their clubhouse. It's really discouraging to see that some people's favorite teams are unable to play because of the risk that they put their players in, doing a full travel schedule. And even with that being said, the Twins were supposed to play in Pittsburgh. It was talked about that, and they got denied. And now the cases are mixing between Canada with Toronto and the rest of the North American teams in the United States. The MLB just gets an F minus for the efforts that they put forward because you can't even really say that it's effort, right, Colt?
Yeah, you're right, Taylor. And actually, I want to get another thought of yours because you just said that. Now, it actually was announced today that MLB has their postseason plans in. Now, because of the virus, I believe there are 16 teams in the postseason. So, as it goes, so the wild card series are just going to be played like in each team's individual city. But after, and then as we move on to the divisional series, they are all going to be played in selective cities until the World Series, which will be played in Arlington, Texas, at the Rangers' new ballpark. So, Taylor, I want to ask you, do you think that that's going to work for the MLB?
I think it could work. It replicates the bubble idea that the NBA and the NHL put forward. But at the same time, I think it's also just an effort that they're putting forth too late. You see what happened again with all of the players and the teams that are out right now or have been out throughout the season. Granted, it is a limited season because of the exposure that the teams were willing to put their people through. So the postseason plan, again, kind of replicating that bubble idea, very much could work. And I would love to see it work. I love baseball. I think most of us love baseball. But it's just, I think the effort is too late.
You think?
I do think.
Because and also I want to get your thoughts on the NFL real quick because they don't have a bubble either.
They
So
don't have the bubble. They are restricting in person attendance, obviously, with some people saying that, or some teams, I should say, uh, completely eliminating in person attendance throughout the first two games at least. Um, the thing about the NFL is that they don't have as big or as many games, I should say, as an MLB team does. In a regular season, MLB has upwards of 100 plus games, whereas the NFL has 16 weeks, 16 games of action or 15, whatever it is, a very limited number compared to the MLB. And that just puts them at even more risk. I mean, the NFL, you play a team twice in one season at the max, but the MLB has 4 game, 5 game series sometimes. It's just, it's a comparison, but at the same time, the situations are extremely different.
well, we're just going to have to see how it plays out, but we're going to have to leave it at that. Coming up, we are going to be talking about the NFL and is Cam Newton's debut with the Patriots. What we saw was, are they better off with Tom Brady? Stick around.
All right, go.
Go to our new website, uvu.plainpark.edu.
Go, 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 go.
Join UView and find your herd.
Be like,
Join EOP.
and 3, 2.
Join EOP.
Grab him now, or else I can
Join on point with politics.
3, 2, 1.
Join Pioneer Sideline.
Loneliest number that you'll ever do.
Welcome back. During the offseason, the anticipation built up as we saw the former MVP Cam Newton in a Patriots uniform for the first time against the Miami Dolphins, and the Patriots came out with a big win against their division opponent. So, Taylor, I want to get your thoughts on this because the Patriots' former quarterback, Tom Brady, lost against the New Orleans Saints as he is now quarterback in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So, are the Patriots better off with Cam Newton this year?
I think the main thing with Cam Newton is that he just needed a change of scenery. Obviously, with Tom Brady, he was so used to being in New England, and now he has his own change of scenery. But Cam Newton is obviously a fresher face in the league as compared to Tom Brady. He did great. I should say Cam Newton did great with the Panthers in his first few seasons there, but he started to fall off. And last season was, I don't want to say abysmal, but it was not as good as you would expect a Cam Newton-led team to be. And the fact that the Patriots did so well against the Dolphins, granted it still is the Dolphins, they still did great. And Cam Newton had a fantastic game. And I can't wait to see what he continues to do with the Pats. Obviously, Bill Belichick is a force to be reckoned with, and he creates forces to be reckoned with. I'm very excited to see how this team is going to be, no matter the amount of hate that Pittsburgh has toward the Pats and Tom Brady. But maybe that'll switch to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as we move forward.
Well, the good news is with Brady, they're in the NFC. Steelers are in the AFC, so they don't got to worry about playing Brady this year.
Cross-divisional.
Yeah, but I agree with you, Taylor, because Cam, had a better game than Brady yesterday. Cam had a 78.95 passer completion rate, and Brady had 63%. And also, Brady had 3 picks, and Cam had none. Now, yeah, I do agree with you, Taylor, about the Dolphins because it's the Dolphins. They are a rebuilding team, and I still think the Patriots are beatable this year because if you look at their schedule, it's not going to be easy. Next week on Sunday Night Football, they got the Seattle Seahawks, and then they also got to play Kansas City, and then they got to have their Super Bowl rematch, with the Los Angeles Rams. So I'm curious to see how the Patriots are going to match up against those teams, and rather a rebuilding team, like the Miami Dolphins. And also something with the Patriots that I'm curious about is they don't have home field advantage this season. And I think one of the reasons why the Pats were so good all those years was because it was always sold out in Foxborough. The atmosphere was always electric, and they don't have that this year. So I'm just curious to see how that's going to play out. Do you think that's going to have a impact, Taylor, on this team?
I think it could, but the only thing is you can never count the Patriots out, and you see what happens when you do. They just come right out of the gate and completely demolish the competition. Maybe that's because of Tom Brady. Maybe that's because of Bill Belichick. Too early in the season to see who we can credit that to.
That is true, Taylor, but we are going to have to leave that there. And coming up, we are going to be talking about the Pittsburgh Penguins and their plans for the offseason, including a big trade that happened a few weeks ago. Don't go anywhere.
The United Student Government at Point Park University, working since the 1970s to solve the issues that matter to you. What concerns do you have about the university? Student life, safety, food service? Send us an email to studentconcerns@pointpark.edu or stop by our office on the 7th floor of the Student Center. You can also attend our weekly open meetings on Mondays at 3:15. Follow us on social media at USG_PPU for more. The United Student Government, by the students, for the students.
The Point Park Sports Network, bringing you live coverage of Pioneer Athletics on Stretch Internet, the home of the River States Conference and the NAIA. Subscribe today for complete access to the Point Park volleyball, baseball, basketball, and soccer teams. Watch live and on-demand broadcasts and don't miss a minute of Point Park Athletics. Head to pointparksports.com/live for broadcast listings. The Point Park Sports Network, your streaming home for Point Park Athletics.
3, 2, 1.
Please visit our website. Please. It's a nice website. Please visit our website. Please.
If you have ever watched television, whether accidentally or on purpose, UView is for you.
Welcome back. Well, it didn't take long for the Penguins to make moves in the offseason, as they have traded their first overall pick, number 15th, in the 2020 NHL draft for Kasperi Kapanen, a player from the Toronto Maple Leafs who was actually drafted by the Penguins in 2015, but he was traded to Toronto in the offseason with the Phil Kessel trade. Now, Taylor, your two favorite teams. You are in a what do you think about this? Because it seems like you are in a nutshell out of all this.
It's a bit of a pickle. I mean, from the second that the trade happened, it's so obvious that Toronto won the trade. Giving up the first round pick, I think, is one of the dumbest moves that Jim Rutherford has done on behalf of the Penguins. Toronto, I believe, didn't have a first round pick this year. They obviously were going for that. And Kasperi Kapanen, although he is good, he wasn't producing as well as he could have, not even with the shortened season, but the season before as well. And the Penguins have Kasperi Kapanens on their team. Maybe not as quick, but they have players who have that Kasperi Kapanen skill set. And they didn't need him necessarily. I'm really not sure why the Penguins traded for Kasperi Kapanen, why they would give away a first overall pick. I don't think Kasperi Kapanen is worth a first overall or a first round pick, excuse me. Maybe a second, actually probably definitely a second. Definitely not a first round. Toronto won that trade, especially getting Evan Rodriguez. You see the amount of skill that he brought to the Pens. A smaller role, granted, but he still helped the team whenever he came over this season. And I'm excited to see what he's going to do in Toronto. I'm also excited to see what Kasperi Kapanen is going to do with the Pens.
Now, Taylor, Jim Rutherford has said that he's not giving up hope on the Penguins Stanley Cup chances. Excuse me. He said they are going to compete for the Stanley Cup in 2021. So, because of that, do you think that the Penguins are a legit contender for the 2021 Cup? Because a lot of people are saying that the dynasty is over.
I think that if you have Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin on one team, you are always going to be a Stanley Cup contender. Maybe not as great as they were, but Sidney Crosby's hockey sense, Evgeny Malkin's power, those two, especially together, are unmatched. And they have started to build that core behind them that can keep up. Jake Gensel came back from injury. They got Connor Sherry, granted he's going into free agency. They're building a team around their two star players, and they're going to continue to do that until they are no longer playing with the Pens. I, again, think that as long as Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin are both playing for the Pittsburgh Penguins, the chances of a Stanley Cup are still going to be there.
Now, Taylor, you got 30 seconds. Is Chris Letang done with the Penguins before the season?
Oof, 30 seconds. I'm going to say no.
No?
No.
Oh, you think he's going to come back? Because there's been a lot of rumors about him leaving.
There have been a lot of rumors. I think that it's a possibility he could be gone, but if they're going to continue to compete for that Stanley Cup, I don't think it's in their best interest to get rid of him this offseason. I'm not saying that it's the same for next offseason, but this offseason, probably not. Also, quick note, goalie debate. Tristan Jarry is staying. Matt Murray is gone.
I do believe as well Tristan Jarry will be the starting goaltender for the Penguins next season, and Murray will be with another team. But folks, that is going to do it for us for the halftime show. I'm Colton Tobias.
I'm Taylor Spirito.
And we thank you for watching, and we hope to see you right back here next week. Have a good night.